Stuff right there, man.
Yeah, it
Saliva.
is.
Awesome. Let's welcome our guest to the show.
Look at this guy, Bobby Amaru. Hey, man.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Bobby, can you hear us? No, he cannot. Can't hear you, sir. Damn it. We do not hear you.
I can look at him all day and I'll be fine.
Oh, he'll go out and come back.
I'm a big fan of the band.
Holy cow, we are just not having good tech this week.
The tech has been, it's not our fault on that one.
No, it's not. We'll see what happens. He'll come back.
I hope so. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, he'll be back. They do have a new album called Revelation. It is out on September the 8th. And they're going out on tour with Drowning Pool and Adelita's Way, including a gig here in Cleveland on September 22nd. Let's try again.
All right, here we are.
There he is.
Hey, man.
It kept muting me for some reason. I don't know. It was like muting the mic, and I don't know.
Well, our first comment is, oh, crap, he's cute. So, I mean,
Right.
even if they could just look at you, I guess it'd be good. So we're all good.
Well, you kind of have the Barbie behind you, man. So, I mean,
I went and saw a piece of junk movie today. So that was, what we were talking about before you came on.
I'm supposed to take my daughter and to see it.
Okay, well, I made that mistake today. And so
Yeah.
let me just tell you right now, I'm not going to try to be a spoiler alert or nothing like that. You got to go see the movie. You got to take your kid because that's what I did. But being a man, prepare yourself. Don't listen to the movie. Just watch Margot Robbie for 2 hours. Enjoy that. Other than that, don't listen to it because you're going to walk out of there. And from that point forward, you're going to sit to pee the rest of the day. Because you're no longer going to be a man when you walk out of that movie.
I think I might just have her brother take her now.
There you go. It's good to have you on. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, dude, obviously, man, busy time. New album, new tour, new stuff going on, man. Why don't you catch everybody up with what's going on in the world of Saliva?
Yeah, it's been the record, it's finally dropping September 8th. We started working on the record in 2020.
Right.
And because the idea was to put out a record at the end of 2020. And then, all the pandemic stuff kind of shut everything down. So we just kept putting it off. And then 2021, we felt like we were making up for 2020. And then 2022, we're making up for 2021. And it's like, man, we got to put this thing out. So, because we haven't put out a record, original stuff and since 20.
Damn it.
Been like, it's been a minute.
Right.
So actually being able to get the record done, finally get a release date. But, unfortunately, in March when Wayne passed away, it was very sudden. We weren't expecting it. I mean, I don't think you can never expect that kind of stuff. But like the original release date was supposed to be in July, but I wanted to like push it back and redo the artwork and stuff too. So.
Right. Well, dude, talk a little bit about that, man. That's obviously having Wayne pass away, on tour, no less. That creates a lot of headspace stuff for anybody. Not only, well, I mean, the obvious is the friendship. You lose a friend, but then there's the business side of it too. You look to your right anymore. Now there's not that guy there anymore, and there's a whole different perception of looking at the band and the music that you make, and everything changes on the rare occasion. And it is a rare occasion that happens. How did you guys get through all of that stuff aside from the obvious losing of loss of a friend?
I think with us doing this, I don't know if it's something you ever get through or over, especially like, how the whole thing happened. Like, I'm the one that found them, in the back lounge and stuff, like the way it all like kind of went down, and we thought he was going to be okay. And then, the doctor said otherwise, and we were like, oh, wow. Okay. So then you're not really thinking about music or anything else at that point. You're just thinking about him and his well-being, and you want your friend, your brother, your guy that I've been in a band with 12 years, who I looked up to like a big brother. It's about that. It's more about that. I start thinking about his family and start thinking about his daughter, and I was the last thing to think. I was, Saliva was the last thing on my mind. But then the other side of Wayne, if you knew Wayne, Wayne's the kind of guy, we were 4 shows into the tour. I think there was like 25 dates on that tour.
Right.
It's like, that the Wayne Swinny that I know would be pissed that we were going home. He would be mad, but at that moment there was nothing we could do. We had to, go and do his memorial and celebration and try to figure out what's next, day by day. And, we talked with, Megaforce and the label and just tried to, they've been great with us, and management, everyone's been great and supportive. And they're like, honestly, you and Wayne spent 3 years making this record. People, and so it's like, yeah, I think we need to definitely put it out. He was proud of it. Like, he recorded it all right in here in this room, all the guitars and stuff were done right here. And he'd come to Jacksonville, and spend like a week. We'd probably spend 2 days on guitars. The other 5 days he'd be like, oh man, I'm tired. Oh man, my stomach hurts, or whatever stuff. But we made it do, man. And he knocked stuff out. He was quick. He was a pro, man. He was a pro. And guitar players like him, it's hard to find him. Very, very hard to find him. And a lot of people didn't realize, he was older. He's 59. He was 59. And I say that because it's like, I mean, he lived it all. He lived in the 80s, man. He did that whole thing. And remember when I first got in the band, like, and Paul, the former drummer was like, you were born in 83? I'm like, yeah, I was born in 83. He's like, bro, Wayne was on his first world tour in 83, like, so just that kind of stuff, man. But right now we're just trying to, just honor, his legacy and this whole tour that we're doing. And I'm constantly brainstorming and thinking about how we can incorporate things that, are about him. And we miss him every day, man. We miss him every day. And it's one of those things. And, I miss our conversations, our talks. We'd talk for hours, man, hours on the phone. And,
Sure.
he'd call me about advice, and, my wife helped him tremendously, got him to a 780 credit score, something that he never had in his life, stuff like that. And like, we loved him, everybody did. And everybody at his celebration, like that's really where you knew, man, people that went way back with him, and all the outpour, the love and support we got from other bands and everybody. I mean, that's, that he was the real deal. People knew that. So,
I want to say I'm sorry for your loss, and it has to be tough. It's everybody's loss who loves the music, because I've been a fan for a very long time. So, I am sorry for your loss, though. What's it like joining a band? You joined in 2011?
Yeah.
What's it like joining a band that's pretty much established, and is it a tough role to take over when Josie Scott left with some Christian solo thing, right? And what's it like taking over a pretty established band like that?
Well, there's a lot of pressure, that's for sure. And I was up for the challenge. I had known of them, when they came out, and my band at the time in 2001, we made a record with Bob Marlette, who produced several of their records too, and he did the first Every 6 Seconds record. And so we'd cross paths and stuff, and I knew, I've been in like other bands and toured and done stuff, but not at that level. And especially, I come from, being a drummer and songwriter and playing guitar and stuff, but to jump into a lead singer role, I don't think you're ever really prepared for something like that. It's just, let's see what happens.
You rock it though, man. I have to give you credit.
That's how I looked at it.
You do rock it.
Yeah,
you kill it.
I've worked my ass off.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I have worked my ass off, man. Like I paid a lot of dues. I really did, and done a lot of shit from TV, film, music to, producing artists and, songwriting, but, being in the room with, A-list artists and stuff. And, but one thing I never really got to do was that whole touring thing that you dream of when you're a kid. Then when you get into a band like Saliva and you go to do a tour and you're like, when does this shit end? Because you realize it's like, man, it's not what, it's all, talked up to be. And it's a lot of grinding. It's not as easy as you think, when you go out and you join a band like that. You have fans, you have people that are going to hate you. Just, they haven't even heard you and they're going to hate you. You have people they're going to, be open arms. You got people that are kind of on the fence, and those have always been the great ones when people will come up to me and say, man, I wasn't too sure about this, but you won me over, or those are great. It just really anything positive. I always try to meet everybody, and especially like lately I've been going out to merch, like right after we're done, I'll tell people, and some of these shows have been like big ones like Summerfest and stuff. I was out there for 3 fucking hours.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I don't care. I'll sit out there for 5 hours if that's what it takes to shake hands and, meet people and tell people that I'm grateful, and that Wayne was super grateful too, for everybody and, supporting the brand and supporting rock and roll. And, this band's been around a long time. And
see,
there's different versions. There's it is what it is. It's just, we're trying to do the right thing by him and,
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking to a guy here who was in rock radio for 15 years, and I played Saliva songs, every hit known to man, 5,000 times a day.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the music, and so me seeing you, I think you picked up right where they left off, if not better. And so I think it's really cool. I mean, I really do. I think it's good what you're doing. I think the new music sounds fantastic, and I'm digging it. So that's awesome.
I appreciate that, man. I learned a lot, like from when I first got in the band to now. It's like, it's definitely a big difference, but that's that whole thing. You get into something new and it's fresh, and you figure out what works and what doesn't. And then you just, good thing for me, I'm not afraid of the stage, and I like to be on stage. I like to entertain, and I feel like that's where I belong. And that's why I strive on every night, man. I got to go out there and I got to kick them right, where it is, or you're going to end up, people are going to be like, I don't fucking like it or whatever. I always feel like I still have something to prove. And I think that's the way it should be, man, in rock and roll. People are supporting you and buying your records and buying your shirts and coming to your shows. You go out there and you give them a show, man. That's why I like guys like, Jacoby and, the guys like Fred Durst and people like that are always engaging with the crowd and keeping them, excited and entertained. That's what it's all about.
Right.
David Lee Roth, man, come on.
Right. I think the rule is, man, you're either hungry or lazy. And if you're not one, you're the other. And no one likes the lazy. Everybody likes, it's easy to like a band when you know they're still trying. It's awfully hard when you see them going through the motions.
Yeah. And who's a perfect example? Look at Metallica, dude.
Yeah.
When they're up on stage, they're giving it all they've got. They've given everything they have. And that says a lot. The biggest fucking rock band in the world. All these other bands that are like, oh, they're phoning it in and they don't want to be there, but they're making fucking awesome guarantees and stuff. Man, it's like, that's sad, because you got to be, grateful that I'm grateful that I'm able to do this and be able to reach people and meet people and play on stage for people who give a shit, man. I love that. And when you look at a band like Metallica, dude, they're having so much fun up there, and they're like still like giving people what they paid to see.
Right. No, you're 100% right, man. Well, dude, let's turn this toward the new record, Revelation. I'm going from the press release, so tell me that this is just completely wrong if it is, but
Okay.
I read that you focused a lot of your writing this time on the struggles that you had getting sober. And you not that you wrote a record about that, but you used that energy for that. My question is, are you comfortable sharing personal tough emotions like that and being judged unfairly, kind of, where people are getting a 3-minute snippet instead of understanding a 5-year journey?
Yeah. So I've never been afraid to talk about it,
Sure.
with people, because I feel like if it can help somebody, man, the things that I went through might be different than what you've gone through or what other people got. That's just the way it is. We don't walk in each other's shoes. We don't. And,
Right.
there's a lot of people that we wish that we could have helped that we didn't get a chance to. And everybody has a story. Everybody has their own story. And I've met other people that are, sober now and stuff too. And I am like, I always want to hear their stories and stuff. And they're always different, but it's always challenging. It's always a challenge, because when you go through something like that, something you're used to doing all the time, to just not doing it anymore. And then you're like, oh wait, but I still have to go on stage and I still have to do this. It's like all these other things like take place, and how you feel and your emotions and stuff. And, for me, like, it just got to a point where, started noticing changes in my behavior, and I was more, just unhappy,
Right.
upstairs and then things. And that got real scary for me. Cause it's something that I hadn't really experienced before, even though, depression runs deep in my family, and alcoholism and stuff like that. And I was like, I have to break the cycle. I have to break this, whatever it is. I don't want to just be, you know what I mean, doing the same stuff and repeating history. And I had a lot of other things in place too, like, with meeting my wife and, and I had my kids who at the time, were younger, but my son's 16 now. My daughter just turned 12. And then we got our baby with my wife, who's a little over a year. But at that time, I even said to myself, I don't want something to happen to me, and that's what they remember,
Right.
and that's what it, and so I did a lot of like searching, within myself, and and then I just fucking woke up one day and was like, that's it, I'm done. And that was it. And then I remember looking back and thinking, when was the last time I didn't have a drink? And it was like 4 years or something. And it was when I was sick and didn't, or things like that. But I always had at least one drink,
Right.
Every day or every night. And, I felt like removing that could potentially put my life on a better path. And it absolutely did, 100%. Like, I wouldn't change it for anything. So.
That's amazing, and congratulations on that too, man. People are loving. You should see some of the texts that are coming in. They absolutely love what you're saying. One of the things I'm excited about is that you're actually going on tour, and you're not just doing the festivals. You're doing some of the festivals, but you're actually coming to Cleveland. You're playing a club here in Cleveland, a big club, but still a club, and that's the kind of stuff that I think is missing with rock today. I am so tired of going to festivals where there's 8,000 bands, and I have to wait like 10 hours to see you guys. That's what I'm looking forward to. You guys are doing this tour, and you're coming to House of Blues here in Cleveland in September, which I'm psyched about. But is there a difference between doing all these festivals and then just going on a legit tour around the country to some of these smaller clubs?
I mean, I like doing the smaller clubs. I really do, just because I feel like it's more personal with people, and like engaging with people. It's just, I don't know. I like that. It always feels like less pressure anyways. When you go play the festival, I like to, engage and keep it like rocking and keep it upbeat. But you have so many people that are there for so many different bands anyways. So, you might get this one section that are really into it. You might get this one section that are just like this, or, whatever. But
Right.
I think the cool thing about festivals, though, is you're able to, like, for a band like us, you're able to get in front of some new faces and fresh faces. And I'm always up for the challenge to try to win them over and stuff as well. And being around a lot of the other bands and, the festivals obviously feel more like, hell yeah, it's cool, but it's almost like when you do the club stuff, that's keeping you grounded and keeping you like humbled too, like, because there's a lot of bands, they just fucking play festivals and they play arenas all the time. We don't get to do all that.
Right.
So when we do get to do the festivals, we take advantage of it, and it's almost like the cherry on top, you know what I mean? Like I guess you'd say, for us, just grateful that we're there, that we've been considered to be part of, a day full of great bands or a weekend full of great bands.
Right. Well, and I know with this tour that you're getting ready to do now, the one that we're talking about, and you'll be here, Saliva will be here on September 22nd at the House of Blues with Drowning Pool and Adelita's Way. That's for anybody that's mid to late 90s music fan, that's like a Hall of Fame radio tour there with, it's just a great show. Talk a little bit about how that one came together. Did that come together as a management thing, or is that more this guy knew that guy knew this guy and you guys just kind of daisy chained a tour together, or what?
When I first got in the band, one of the shows I run was in somewhere in Texas.
Okay.
And this would have been 2012.
Okay.
And CJ came out from Drowning Pool. So I met him. He's probably one of the first guys I met from like another band, being in Saliva, So, and he and I always stayed in touch through the years. We did shows with him and stuff, and always remain in touch with him. And we're just trying to figure out something to do. And they're working on a record. We're dropping our record, and we're like, maybe we'll let's do something, and it just lined up and it made total sense. And I love it because, getting the tour with those guys, I love those guys, Mike, all the, Ryan,
Sure.
So it's good for me, particularly, to be around people that I'm familiar with and that I know and that I respect. And, I know that they're kind of like us when it comes to the grinding, factor and going out and, what's it going to be? It's going to be, 4 shows this week. Well, that's not enough. Let's play, we have 7 in a row one week, mind you. So, I mean, that's the kind of I'm saying. It's like, we're not afraid of that shit, man. Let's do it.
Now, do you have a kinship with Ryan specifically as another guy that stepped in for a very high profile vocalist and, then out, then back in, but I know you didn't do the constant switching, but that's a tough for any band. Not everybody has the Sammy Hagar effect. Everybody else, and even Sammy Hagar with the Van Halen thing, constant badgering for no real reason. And I know I see it for you sometimes, and I know I see it for Ryan sometimes. Now, I'm a huge fan of Soil, so I love Ryan. I'm a giant fan. And I think all of you guys that have stepped into bands and kept them going take unnecessary beatings. Sure, you get it at the beginning, and I get that. First year or two, I get that the old fans are like, "Oh, it's not the same." But you, like, for you specifically, you've been in Saliva for what, 11, 12 years at this point. There's no more reason to talk about it. You're the guy. So, but you still take that beating. For you, do you guys talk about that? Like, do you and Ryan talk about, that kind of weird, never accepted, but just keep grinding thing that you guys do?
We did some shows. The last time I saw him would have been, Jesus, maybe 2019.
Okay.
We did some shows with like a run with, maybe it was 2018. He was with Soil though.
Okay.
And they did some shows with us, and we were like doing shows with, I think, Puddle of Mud, and he and I, we hung out a little bit on the bus and stuff like that. But No, we never really talked about that. I maybe it's something that we don't think about though. I mean, I don't really.
Yeah.
I always felt like it works or it doesn't, man. I mean, if I'm not, I can't live my life. You know, I gotta please this guy. You know,
Right.
or you know, I don't really, or you know, please these people, because I feel like there's so much out there. There's so much music and so much going on and other things going on. It's like if you have to dwell on who's singing for Saliva, it's I don't know, man, you know. But
Right.
I get it though for people that are big fans and longtime fans, you know, from the get-go. That's my band. You know, I get it. But things happen and people move on and people quit. You know, when people quit and you know things, you know, then that means the brand or the band has an option. It's like, do we carry on or is that it? And in this case, and a lot of other cases, you find more and more these days. There's a lot more of the brand and the band wanting to continue on. And I think, you know, social media helps a lot with that because you're able to kind of engage more with your fan base and with people. Back in the 80s or 90s or whatever, it's a lot. I'd say it's probably way more difficult to replace a singer or whatever.
Sure.
Because the amount of fax machines you've got to use and the amount of other things and for press releases and new photo shoots and, you know, all the other crazy
Right.
stuff that happened then. And, you know, it's like, hey, man, we've had this guy 2 years. We're still not on MTV yet. What's going on? You know,
Right.
you know, but the mystique, I will say that with social media today, there's no mystique anymore in
True.
rock. And I miss that. I think we're always going to miss that. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, I would love to fucking jump in the hot tub time machine and go back to 1987, dude. You know, we all would.
Yeah.
And even the kids today would probably love to do that. And it was a much fucking better time,
Agree.
you know.
Hopefully, people will buy your music instead of streaming it all over the place because streaming is now ridiculous. Actually, buy the album. And new album comes out, what, September, Chris? Right?
September 8th.
It drops, and I'm
September
looking
8th.
forward to that.
Right.
Yeah, we got the vinyl. We got the limited edition vinyl that we're doing, which is really, really cool, man. We got this just awesome piece of Wayne on the back of it and stuff, too. It's really, really cool.
Very
So,
cool, man. Well, dude, I figure maybe what we'll do is we'll wrap up by giving people a taste of the new single, Come Back Stronger. What can you tell us about this one?
Well, this one was one of the first ones for the record. This was kind of the blueprint of where we wanted to go. I remember playing Wayne some stuff in like 2019, just some ideas and some things. And he would say, I had played on like 3 different things. They had no vocals, had nothing.
Okay.
And he says that whatever that is, that needs to be the first song on the record. And that's what that was. It was like just some ideas for it. Then he kind of influenced some things of how we could do this and do that and guitar parts and shit. But so I kind of ran with it. That was the first song to kind of go, okay, this is how the record could go. And yeah, it's about a guy. It could be about several things, but for me, in my, you know, the way I look at it, it's about a guy who's, you know, struggling to find his place, you know, and with that, you know, dealing with my alcoholism and stuff too, and knowing how to fight back and figure out a way to overcome, you know, all of the challenges and stuff.
Right.
Was something that I felt like the title of the song, Come Back Stronger, it made a lot of sense. You know, we almost called the record something like that, but you know, it didn't pan out that way.
Right.
So.
Well, I'll tell you this. Before I play the song, if you see a fat guy with an I Hate Barbie t-shirt in the front row in Cleveland in September, that is me, because I'm going to be checking you guys out. I'm looking forward to seeing you. So.
Dude, I'd love to hang out with you guys, man. If you guys want to come down, you know, hang with us, just let me know.
It'd be
Absolutely.
great. Love to. So appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
House of Blues have nice dressing rooms, so
They do.
They do. It's cool there. So
Nice.
thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, Bobby, take care.
But
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's Flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.